Hey everyone, this is Mark from AMT Motorsport, and in this video I'm going to be taking you step by step through the entire installation process of our monoball control arm bushing kit. Before we start, I want to show you all the parts that are pre-machined and sitting on the shelf beforehand. These parts are the housings, the ears, the trunnions, and the bearings. The housings are made from 6061 aluminum, and as you'll see shortly, we machine the outside for a perfect fit into the control arm bores. The insides are machined with a 2 to 5/10 press fit for our radial bearings. The bearings we buy are some of the best in the business, and they are the Radial RWT10 bearings. These are the same bearings that are used by many IMSA LMP prototype teams in their own control arms. We have 16 of these in our control arm bushing sets, and they are snap ringed into place into the 6061 housings. Next we have the upper control arm trunnions, which we make from 17.4 pH stainless steel. After they are turned in our lathes, we machine the flats, we mill the holes, we then harden it to the H900 condition, which puts this material in the hardest state that it can possibly be in. Finally, we have the ears that are used to space the control arms in the cradles. These are made from 7075 aluminum, which is twice as strong as 6061. Originally, we did make these from 303 stainless, but switching to 7075 gives all the strength we need and actually saves about 6 pounds for a full control arm assembly. Today we're installing bushings and a set of control arms for a C5 Corvette street and track car. When we receive the arms, we first apply tags with the customer's name so we can keep track of all the various sets of arms coming and going through the shop. Now we need to press out the stock rubber bushings. The proper way to do this is with a press, and we've made some custom tools to make the process fairly easy. Some people will burn the stock bushings out, which makes an unholy mess, or they will press them out using two opposing bolts, and we recommend you absolutely not do that, as it can actually bend the control arms apart. Front upper control arm bushings can actually be muscled out with a vise and some WD-40, and we find this is actually the fastest and easiest way to get these bushings out. Finally, we press out the ball joints to be replaced with fresh GM ball joints per the customer's requests. We recommend spending the $100 for new ball joints to be inserted. After all the bushings are out, we then throw the arms in our glass bead blaster to take off all the dirt and grime and rubber that tends to accumulate on a track car. As you can see from the before and after, the arms come out looking better than new. After the arms are clean, we then run a hone through all the control arm bores to knock down any high spots, burrs in the bore, and try and correct any out of roundness issues. We then measure and record all of the bore diameters. We hold this tolerance tight to ensure the housing fits perfectly and doesn't cause any friction or binding of the bearing. We've measured all the bores, and now the housings go back in the lathes so we can turn the OD to maintain that precision shrink-fit tolerance. It's the custom machining of these parts that allows the confidence to offer a lifetime guarantee on all the parts that we make, as well as a 5-year guarantee on the bearings themselves. Once we have all the housings turned, we then heat up the arms to a couple hundred degrees and drop the housings in. We're able to keep the temperatures low because we've already ensured tight tolerances with our previous machining. Once cool, the bearings are pressed into housings with a very tight tolerance held between the housing ID and the bearing OD to keep the bearings performing at their best and last as long as possible. Snap rings are installed in both the housing ODs as well as all the bearing IDs. Now we press the trunnions into the bearings with a very precise and tight tolerance so they act as one cohesive unit. If any of these parts are free to spin, then you'll wear out bearings or housings very quickly. Finally, snap rings are inserted on the trunnions to keep everything locked in place. Probably the most important part of this whole process is the test fitting of these components to make sure they're all going to fit on your car when you get them back. Sometimes these upper control arms or any other control arm will come in bent or manufactured to a looser tolerance, and that's fine when you're dealing with rubber bushings, but when we put all metal bushings in here, we need a much more precise fit. That's why we insist on making everything in-house, installing everything in-house, and testing everything in-house to make sure you're not spending extra hours in the shop trying to make all this stuff fit. The last piece of the assembly puzzle is fitting the lower control arms. These are probably the most important assemblies to test fit because there are pretty significant manufacturing tolerances allowed in the machining of these cradle slots. I hope we've illustrated the time and attention to detail that goes into every monoball control arm bushing kit we make, and why we feel it is the best option for your C5, C6, or C7 Corvette. Please leave any questions or comments below and let us know if you'd like to see more videos like these. Don't forget to visit amtmotorsport.com to check out the rest of our product offerings. Thanks very much for watching.